Good morning, level casters. Welcome to your comprehensive international news update for May 11, 2026. Let's delve into the significant global events making headlines. News 1 of 14. Our top story today involves the MV Hondius cruise ship, which has arrived in the Canary Islands following a hantavirus outbreak. This viral illness has tragically claimed 3 lives. Passengers from the affected vessel are currently in isolation facilities, with some having tested positive for the virus. Disturbingly, a French woman remains in critical condition after an initial misdiagnosis, highlighting the serious nature of this health crisis and the global response required to contain it. News 2 of 14. Moving to Europe, Greece is actively investigating the landing of an explosive-packed drone in its territorial waters. The device, suspected to have originated from Ukraine, has since been detonated by officials. The Minister of Defense has publicly defended the nation's preparedness against such unusual threats, underscoring the escalating complexities in regional security and the novel challenges faced by coastal nations. News 3 of 14. In a highly anticipated diplomatic encounter, a meeting between President Trump and President Xi in China is set to address several critical issues. The agenda for Beijing includes discussions on Taiwan, international trade tariffs, and the strategic Strait of Hormuz. A key question remains whether the U.S. president will need to seek assistance from China into escalating the ongoing conflict with Iran, adding a layer of geopolitical tension to the talks. News 4 of 14. A humanitarian concern emerges from Somalia, where the poorest citizens are suffering acutely due to piles of increasingly worthless shillings. The national banknotes have become so tattered that even public transport operators are refusing to accept them. This dire situation is exacerbated by a largely dollarized economy and the widespread adoption of mobile phone payments, which are collectively driving up the cost of essential goods and services for vulnerable populations. News 5 of 14. New research from the University of Toronto indicates a significant behavioral shift among Canadians. Data suggests a 42% decrease in Canadians visiting U.S. metropolitan areas during the second Trump administration. This notable decline implies a deliberate avoidance of U.S. cities by Canadian citizens, raising questions about cross-border relations and the impact of political climates on international travel patterns. News 6 of 14. The former Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has called for slavery reparations to be a central topic at the upcoming Commonwealth Summit. He argues that reparations should be front and center when leaders convene this November. This advocacy highlights the ongoing global discussion surrounding historical injustices and the demand for accountability and redress from former colonial powers. News 7 of 14. In Canada, concerns about electoral integrity have been sparked by a truly terrifying voter data breach in Alberta. Revelations that a group with separatist links gained access to the list of electors have overshadowed ongoing debates about secession. This incident raises serious questions about the security of democratic processes and the potential for manipulation in future elections. News 8 of 14. EU officials suggest that Russian President Putin is in a weaker position than ever before, as the conflict in Ukraine approaches its conclusion. The bloc's foreign policy chief interpreted recent remarks from the Russian leader as an indication that the war may be nearing its end. However, critics are questioning the suitability of former German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder as a peace mediator, despite Putin's proposal, due to his past ties. News 9 of 14. In Mexico, indigenous families are being forced to abandon their homes due to escalating drug gang attacks and disappearances in Guerrero State. As many as 1,000 households have been displaced. A human rights organization has issued a stark warning about deep collusion between criminal elements and local officials, painting a grim picture of corruption and violence impacting vulnerable communities. News 10 of 14. A grim vision of destruction unfolds in southern Lebanon, with videos, maps, and charts illustrating Israel's assault on the region. Over 1.2 million people have been displaced from their homes amidst intense bombings, evacuation orders, and demolitions. Adding to the distress, Israeli troops were reportedly jailed for the desecration of a Virgin Mary statue, stirring further controversy and condemnation. News 11 of 14. Poland is expecting the United States to extradite Zbigniew Ziobro, a former minister who fled from Hungary. Ziobro is currently wanted in Warsaw on criminal charges. Reports suggest that President Trump was involved in securing a visa for him, complicating the extradition process and adding a layer of political intrigue to the legal proceedings. News 12 of 14. A letter published by Andrew Wallace argues that Britain is failing in its duty to protect victims of modern slavery. Wallace emphasizes the urgent need for greater political will and significant investment to effectively tackle the record levels of exploitation currently being observed across the country, highlighting a critical gap in social welfare and law enforcement. News 13 of 14. The European Union has announced sanctions against violent Israeli settlers, breaking a lengthy deadlock on the issue. While this represents a significant step, the bloc has stopped short of imposing full-scale trade sanctions. This decision reflects a nuanced approach to the ongoing conflict, aiming to address specific behaviors without escalating broader economic tensions. News 14 of 14. Finally, the EU is reportedly preparing to offer a key concession to the UK in a new post-Brexit agricultural deal. Exclusive sources indicate that Britain is expected to be permitted to maintain its ban on live animal exports. This move is seen as a welcome boost for Keir Starmer, potentially easing some of the friction in post-Brexit relations and demonstrating a willingness for compromise. That concludes today's Levelcast Global News Summary. We encourage you to reflect on these significant events and continue expanding your English vocabulary and comprehension. Until our next broadcast, keep learning and stay informed.